Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on a concept which is completely in sync, in line with whatsoever development is taking place currently in the transit. So as you know that very soon, Venus is going to enter the sign of Pisces, which is its sign of exaltation. But during this time, during this year, this transit of Venus is little bit special, distinctive, because once Venus is going to enter the sign of Pisces, it's going to get conjunct with Jupiter over there. And now friends, as you know this thing, that Venus is the significator of love and romance. And Jupiter is the significator of marriage, conjugal bond. So I'm very much confident and sure that a lot of you will be heading towards finding the right person, right partner, getting into a matrimonial match. So I just thought, why should not I play a wingman and try to give you some insights in this regard? Because friends, I'm very much confident that just because you follow my channel and my videos, which are like not superficial, some of the topics are very core topics. So if you have a complete understanding in all of these topics, so it's like you do not need a professional help like someone like me, a professional astrologer, to do any matchmaking for you. There are certain guidelines. If you're going to follow that, you can do that matchmaking by yourself as well. So that is something friends which we will try to understand in this video. Because friends, I've seen a lot many people who only resort to the traditional mechanism of doing the matchmaking, that you should key in your details or your prospective partner's details in the software, and it's going to give you the result on the basis of the 36 points. And if there is some nadi dosh or bhakur dosh or some sort of grahametry problem, so that means this marriage is not compatible. But trust me friends, now times are changing. Even if you go to the metro cities, the divorce rates are all-time high. People are not living in that big social gathering or group setting. People are more living in nuclear families. Same-sex marriages are also taking place. So because of which friends, there are certain criteria which are very relevant, which needs to be followed. So that is something which we will try to discuss in this video. That traditional mechanism of doing the matchmaking on the basis of those points and those criteria is still relevant, but that is more suited for when your ultimate approach is that you are a highly evolved spiritual soul. Your ultimate objective is only for the spiritual elevation, and you want to get married or come in contact with equally reverberating spiritual partner, so that your progeny will also carry the similar qualities. But in today's day and age, where there is a lot of aspirations, lot of ambitions, and our main ultimate objective is to have peace and progress and prosperity in our life, in our domestic life. So the principles or the criteria which I'm going to be sharing right now in this video with you guys, that might prove to be more practical and insightful. And friends, I'll be very honest with you, it's not like my own findings, it's a complete copy paste, because I was just going through my notes from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan days. So I just got through some of the very good books written by K.N. Rao sir on Chara Dasha and matchmaking and all of that. So I just remain lucky in getting access to that. And I think that it's not me who's lucky, it's just the energies of Venus only which is guiding me or making me a medium. So okay friends, all what I'm going to do now is that I have just listed down 7 points on which we will try to understand a matrimonial matchmaking between a couple. So the first point is that you have to check dashas for the first 10 years, that no one in a relationship, either of the person, is not entering a period of crisis. Now friends, you have to understand this thing. This is the most important aspect. We all have been in those situations that you were in a relationship with someone, or you met someone who was the right person for you, but that right person entered your life at a wrong time. Trust me, when we talk about understanding the influence of dasha in our case, in our life, dasha holds so much power that it can completely change your outlook, your thought process, your circumstances, your surrounding environment. I will be very honest with you, had I been running the dasha of Rahu basis the planetary alignments which I have in my chart, that would have made me a criminal. So I'm telling you very honestly, dasha plays a very pivotal role. So when you have to do the matchmaking, when you have the chart of two people in front of you, all what you have to do is that, because initial few years are most sensitive, so the next 10 years you have to individually see that which planetary influence is operational in these two people's life. Like, is it indicating that this one person in the, like today they have come to you for the consultation, or you have to do the assessment, and for example in 2023 this person A's chart is indicating a very big severe health crisis, or this person B's chart is indicating that second year, like next year, this person is going to get into a very professionally very like a crisis time. He might lose his job, there might be some scandal which can break out. So that becomes very important that you have to see the planetary time period or the dasha which is operational currently in the life of two people, and specifically if your intentions are of actually getting married, whether you are from a traditional Indian community or society, or whether even if you are in that stage of your life, you are in a middle age and you are actually want to settle down with someone, and you think that the person also has got very legitimate genuine intentions, and he also or she also wants to settle down. So you have to first take into consideration the planetary time period which this person is currently in influence on, and how the time is going to moving ahead for next at least 10 years. That is going to give you very strong insight the way relationship can work out, or the feasibility or possibility of relationship working out. Now friends, the second point which K.N. Rao sir mentioned was that definitely you have to examine Venus in both of the charts, because friends, Venus not only plays a role in sexual life, sexual compatibility, but also your capacity to withstand all sort of hardship. Because friends, again, because in the traditional communities and the societies, more than your own intimacy, your own compatibility, people or a lot of marriages used to be completely heavily relied on the social norm, society, what people in the society will say, and all of those norms. But these days, as people are living more in the nuclear families and the divorce rates are going very high, unless and until your Venus is not strong, your Venus is not showing compatibility, and you do not have that innate urge or need to be loved or to be in relationship, so you're not gonna make adjustments. So because of which friends, individually you have to see the dignity or strength of Venus in both of the charts. Friends, I'm not saying to do the synastry over here, but you should have a proper say and a proper analysis that how the Venus in the chart of one person is affecting the planets or house in other person's chart. So for example, if you have to see the compatibility between Aries ascendant and for example the Libra ascendant, the natural born lovers, Mars and Venus. So if in the Aries ascendant person's chart, you will find that Venus is placed in the 4th house. So that Venus is influencing the other person's chart in the 10th house. So that can still be seen as a good energy. So the love and the nourishment might support or push native towards the professional success or the fulfillment of duties and responsibilities. So individually, you have to see the strength, dignity and grace of Venus in both of the charts. Now friends, the third point is that you have to see Jupiter in both of the charts. Jupiter plays a very pivotal role, because if Venus can tell about your love, the capacity to make adjustment driven by the love, the need for relationship or another person's presence in your life. Same way friends, Jupiter tells about the religious and spiritual ideals. Trust me, the only thing which can make the marriage stand or work is the blessing or grace of Jupiter. You need the dignified Jupiter's blessings in your case, in your life. So you have to see individually in both of the charts of the prospective partners that how Jupiter is influencing both of them and individual strength and dignity of Jupiter. Now friends, come the fourth point. So the fourth point is that you have to see whether if Mars is occupying any of the Mangal dosha houses or bhavs in any one person's chart or not. So as you know that Mars, which is the significator of aggression, so Mars's placement in certain houses can actually influences your temper, your speech, your behavior, or the sexual desires. So if you will find that Mars is going to be placed in the first house, second house, fourth house, seventh house, eighth house, 12th house, it's going to increase the Martian energy in a difficult way, sensitive way, which could create a hurdle in the marital compatibility. Now friends, like in traditional books, there has a lot been written that okay, if one person's Mars is in the 8th house and other person does not have that kind of fulfilling eligibility, which can fall in sync or can fall in the compatibility range. So this person's chart who has got Mars in the 8th house could also become reason for the death of his partner, which is not completely true. Trust me, I have read many books. I have been with astrologers who have been in this field for so many years. So this is okay. Like the way I already mentioned this thing, Mars is the most unfavorable planet for the marital harmony. The sexual desires, aggression, and quarrelsome nature, resentment, bickering, all these are the things which Mars can put in the relationship. But the planetary alignment of Mars in one person's chart could become a death defying factor or a death afflicting factor for another person. I don't see any resonance of that. That's my own personal finding. So that's one thing, friends. And friends, also it has been seen that if one person is going to have Mars in one specific house, these volatile sensitive house, and other person's Saturn is aspecting that Mars in other person's chart. So let's say for example, you are a Aries ascendant person. So in your case, friends, you are going to have Mars going to be in a Aries ascendant person's chart in the Scorpio sign in the 8th house. So let's say for example, if other person is going to have Taurus ascendant. So in Taurus ascendant person's case, if Saturn is going to be placed in the Virgo sign in the 5th house. So if you will see, if you will try to do the synastry, so if you will place this person's Saturn in another person's chart, it's going to be aspecting Saturn with its 3rd aspect. So that can also nullify or bring down the intensity of Mars. But again, friends, it becomes very important to understand the true role of Mars in your partner's chart, because if Mars is going to be placed in the 8th house, 12th house, it can actually increase the sexual desires. And for example, if Mars is going to be placed in the 1st house or like for example 2nd house, it can give rise to a very heated speech or heated temper. So again, you have to balance it out accordingly. And if you have the knowledge of astrology, so prediction is one thing. At least you should be able to do the correct personality assessment of the person you are about to get into a matrimonial bond or a considerable relationship. Now friends, the 5th point is that you have to see that both should have the same ascendant, or do they have both moon in the same house but different nakshatra. So this is one of the point which has been mentioned in the books of the K.N. Rao sir, because K.N. Rao sir, whatsoever he has written in his books, it is considered as like a dictum, like a principle in the lores and in the community of astrology, because there are so many astrologers who give more attention to the theoretical aspect. But when we talk about K.N. Rao sir, who is the founder of the Bharati Vidya Bhavan as well, from where I did my course of palmistry and astrology, his work has been a outcome of research on thousands of charts. So because of which, what he has found is that you could be lucky if you will get into a relationship with someone where both yours and your partner's ascendant is going to be same. That's one case criteria. Even if your ascendant and your partner's ascendant is going to be trying to each other. So for example, if your ascendant is Aries, you run into someone who is a Leo rising, you run into someone who is a Sagittarius rising, or you are a Taurus rising and you run into someone who is a Virgo rising. So when I say run into, do not run away for marriage. I mean to say to get into a marital match, a legal legitimate marriage. So yeah, so that is considered as good if you and your prospective partner is going to have same ascendant or ascendant which is trine with each other. And he has also put attention on this, that if moon is going to be in the same house. So friends, he did not say that the moon sign, he said the moon house, because House just manifest the energies, that where your energies are directed in that specific area of life, because the sign of the moon, zodiac sign of the moon, is going to put its influence in the form of your style, your theme or thinking pattern. But when we talk about that thinking pattern is applied in which specific area of the house, that is something which you get to know with the moon's placement in the house in your chart. So if two people, irrespective of if they have a different sign, but moon is placed in the same house, that can be seen as a good compatibility factor as per the K.N. Rao sir's work. Now friends, the next point is that Jupiter, if in one person's chart, is going to be aspecting other person's either ascendant lord or the moon, that can be seen as one of the very best factor for marriage to work out. Because friends, beyond doubt, whenever we talk about the factor which can make any marriage work out is Jupiter in astrology, and whether Jupiter's presence, Jupiter's compatibility, or even Jupiter's influence on your partner's chart is definitely going to have a say. So Jupiter aspecting either the ascendant of your partner, ascendant lord, or the moon can be seen as one of the best factor for a relationship or marriage to work out or last. And friends, the last point which K.N. Rao sir has mentioned is that he has mentioned and given attention to this fact as well, that if you will find either in both of the charts of the prospective partners, or even if in one of the chart, that if fifth lord is going to be placed in the 10th house, that can be seen as a very good sign. Whether in a way that your mind, that no matter that one person is has got a very bickering nature, has got a very fault finding nature, but if one person or his mind is very much focused, then the possibility of marriage to not work out goes very low. So let's say for example, because fifth lord's placement in the 10th house gives two indication. One is that your mind is very much duty oriented, because fifth house tells about the way your mind function. 10th house is all about your duties, action, or your profession. Second aspect of looking at it is that because when fifth house also tells about your progeny or your children. So if you will find that your fifth house lord is going to be placed in the 10th house, this could also be an indicator of that you might be blessed with children who will very very ideally are going to serve their parents. So that could also become a very strong factor, that just because children or children's contribution or their influence can also act as a glue which will keep the marriage intact. So again friends, there are so many ways of looking at this, but trust me, these 7 points as mentioned by K.N. Rao sir in his book is something which I actually found to be working in lot many cases. Now that is completely up to you whether you want to blend all these 7 principles with the traditional software approach of 36 guna matchmaking or not, or whether you want to study these or apply these 7 points in isolation. But trust me friends, if you will find in any of the chart to be, or any of those 2 charts, whether it's yours or any of your friends or any of your clients, and if you will find that all these 7 eligibilities are getting fulfilled, then trust me friends, the possibility is going to be very high, very strong, that relationship or marriage can work out. So this is something friends which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs on this topic of astrological marriage matchmaking or dating. So for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyawad.